Okay, we're back here for part 3, speaking to East Palestine citizens. Today's date is March 20th, 2015. So we've got a story to hear, so let's hear it.
Well, during World War II, there was a terrific flu epidemic in East Palestine, as well as many other places in the world. But anyway, at that time, what was now, or recently sold, I guess, the Veterans of Foreign Wars clubhouse was made into a hospital. There's no hospital close to East Palestine. So they made that into a hospital where they put the patients, the doctors went there, and nurses went there, and it was really a compassionate thing, the way they ran that hospital.
My mother's sister died in that epidemic.
Yes.
My aunt, Ethel. My aunt Ethel.
What was that?
And she had a baby and it died too.
Recently sold the vets, they know where the vets had their clubhouse. That was
What hospital came first? Was it East Liverpool or Salem? Good trivia question, huh?
Yeah.
Because I was born in Liverpool, and it was just a little section down there, but that was back in '66. But I've seen a bunch of old clippings that keeps referring to Salem Hospital. So I'm not sure which one came first. Thought maybe somebody would know.
Well, there was Salem Clinic in Salem Clinic near town, and it would be over in the Salem City.
Oh,
There's a hospital and a clinic in Salem.
Yeah.
Two different ones.
Yeah.
doctors back in the day, they used to come right to your house, didn't they? You didn't have to go to the doctor came to you.
You went to the doctor too, but he would make home trips. That's what I remember.
Yeah, they'd make them. I had a doctor who would stop.
I've never had one doctor come to my house yet.
They won't now.
Maybe you weren't sick enough.
I remember Dr. McCommon, because my husband used to say, no matter what you had, you went to his office, he gave you a bottle of red medicine, charged you 50 cents, and you went home and got better.
You think they really had medicine, or you think it was probably just giving you some aspirin?
I don't know.
Dr. Simpson made his own medicine. He had like a laboratory in the back of his office, and he'd make stuff up back there. Give you, wouldn't he?
What about that medicine man at the park?
Oh, I remember that.
You remember that medicine man?
He used to have, they used to have acts, you know, girls sing or some sort of performance. And one time he showed you, so he said, what came out of your body with this medicine. And he had a jar like that and some kind of an animal in there. It scared the wits out of me. And he said, that came from a human body by taking my medicine. They were Indian.
And they lived here in town, right?
No, they would come every so often.
Medicine man.
Well, were they gypsies?
They called him a medicine man.
Were they like gypsies?
Well, I don't know where they went from here, but I understood they traveled different places. They would come here every so often. They called it the medicine show.
Huh.
And of course, their goal was to sell the medicine.
Train wrecks. We had a couple of train wrecks. You guys remember any train wrecks that hit the Adamson building?
There were several people. Wasn't there an all?
73 or somewhere around there?
Teddy knows some other.
What? Train hit her. That was late enough.
Well, I don't know that was a train wreck that killed her.
That wasn't a train wreck.
She was hit by a train on the track.
Right, but it wasn't,
It's her fault.
I think what you're referring to is where the cars were slewed everywhere.
Yeah, well, that was one of them, but they had a lot of nice cars out there on them tracks.
Yeah, that took the overhead bridge.
Yeah.
I seen some pictures they had on Facebook, and had some nice old Dodge Cornettes, upside down. A lot of beautiful, well, back then, nobody thought they were classics, but today we think of them as, wow, look at them classic cars upside down. And was that bridge out, when they took that bridge out, was it out for a long period of time, or did they like rebuild it pretty quick?
Oh,
That's a long time.
a long time.
Huh. So really, you could only go over Brookdale.
When the fire trucks had to go to the other side of town, they had to go out towards New Waterford, and then come back into Palestine,
Oh.
because there wasn't any fire.
And Market Street was blocked off, right?
Yeah, well, if there was a train on the track, that's when they had to go.
And we didn't have the fire station we have on Clark Street now.
No, not then.
So they had to go clear to Waterford to come back to Palestine.
That didn't happen every time, it was just when,
Of course, it might have been shorter to go out to 51.
well, see, sometimes if there's a train, it's out by 51 and then
Downtown.
downtown too. Because the trains are pretty long going through here.
Yeah. I heard Susan B. Anthony used to ride through there. Anybody ever hear that?
What?
Susan B. Anthony. She used to ride trains through East Palestine. Stopped here a few times.
The one on the coin?
Yep, the one for women's rights.
She did what?
She used to stop here in town.
Left your coins here, didn't you?
I was laying on the couch one day, and I was watching the History Channel. That's the only channel I'm stuck on. And I was half asleep and half awake, and talking about Susan B. Anthony, and I could hear it. And then they said, East Palestine, Ohio. And I was like, what? Susan B. Anthony used to stop in this town. And I've asked a few other people that. I've tried to find it online. I can't find it anywhere. And I don't know if it was the show, it was just beefing up its story, but it did say East Palestine, Ohio, and Susan B. Anthony.
Troop trains used to go through.
Who?
Troop trains.
Troop train.
In
Convoy.
the yard and wave to them.
Now, this big building that we have down there is still standing on Market in Maine. What do you guys refer to that building as? Because it's had so many
Charlie
names.
McGuire's building.
It's had so many names.
What's that?
You call it a hotel.
Hotel Grand? You guys ever remember this Hotel Grand at all?
Do you?
I seen them like in the late 1800s that had Hotel Grand on it. And I know it's changed many, many names over the years.
Oh, the Turner, the old hotel.
Do you ever remember any of them women standing up in the windows that were working?
Just heard stories. Go ahead. And
Everybody's being quiet.
You told,
Yeah, we didn't get it on tape last time. I thought I'd get a chuckle out of you.
you told them the other day.
Right. Yeah, I guess they was up there looking for customers. What was some, let's go around the room. Everybody tell me a good memory they remember in town. We'll start with you, Julie.
About what?
A good memory, a good story. Doesn't have to be fantastic. Something that you really remember, something you liked about growing up here.
Well, let's see. Well, there's a story of Slim Jim. Does everybody know that story?
Slim Jim?
Yes.
No?
No? Well, in front of the old Lincoln Hotel down there, right in that square area, there was a signal which stood right in the middle of the road, and it gave directions. It said to the left, if you were coming down, was Beaver Falls and Pittsburgh. And must have been part rubber because people would knock it over, and next thing you knew it was standing up again, and they called that Slim Jim.
That was that post that was standing right in the middle of the road, right?
Right in the middle of the road, and it gave the directions.
I got a picture of that. I heard it called Slim Jim.
Do you have a picture?
Not with me, but I have one at home on my computer. it's right on the, just south of the tracks there, at that intersection?
Yes.
Yep,
Before you make the left turn on going to East Taggart Street.
Chadden, right.
Yeah.
Yep, I got a picture of that.
Yeah,
Slim Jim.
that was called Slim Jim.
How about you, Ruth? You got a story up your sleeve?
Well, the church I go to now, when it was first built, was just like a wooden one-room place. And they kept adding and adding and adding, and now we have that beautiful Methodist church on the corner, right across from the building you were talking about.
Right.
And so that has many memories for me, for many ministers and that came and went.
It is a beautiful
One other
church.
thing I'd like to tell you was, I don't remember what celebration this was. I think Julia thinks it was 76, but Palestine was great for celebrations. And this lady, her name was Grace Southern, got on a train in Salem and then came to Palestine. She was a queen. She had a crown and beautifully dressed, and there were hundreds and hundreds of people there at the train to meet her. And when she got off the train, then everybody yelled and screamed. Do any of you remember that?
Was it called The Movie Queen?
Yeah, yes.
There's a video on YouTube of that movie Queen that somebody videoed that.
Yes, well,
1937.
was that it?
Yes.
I didn't know what the year was.
1937.
37.
I never knew where she came from. She came from Salem.
She was from Palestine, but they took her to Salem, and she got on the train so she could make an entrance to Palestine.
What was she? Was she just an ordinary person, or?
She was a kindergarten teacher, and I know she taught my boys, and why they chose her, well, she was very pretty and very attractive, very nice person, and I suppose that's why they chose her.
Huh. Oh, that's great. Jim, what you got? I know you got something. Guys got all kinds of
That's
stories.
Chuck. Chuck, Jim left.
I don't have,
Oh,
I don't have much to say. I came in 53.
you gotta have some good memory.
But what?
Teaching in high school. Tell about teaching in high school.
Yeah. I was lucky one way though. I lived in North Avenue, and my kids only went half a block to school. Up through 12th grades. It was really close there.
So you came there in 53? So you knew a Tony Conkle?
Who?
Tony Conkle?
Yeah.
Used to run track?
Yeah, he was the one the year before. 52, I think, he left.
So you never got to meet him?
Well, I could have.
Because he's got track records that still stand down there.
Yeah.
He was super fast. So I just kind of wanted to know if you knew him. All right, I'm trying to, matter of fact, I know I got this one right. Vivian, you've got a good story somewhere, don't you?
But when the World War II ended, dancing in the streets,
Right.
people danced all up and down Market Street.
Celebration.
Bowling Howard drove a truck down and handed out all these bottles of beer to people to celebrate.
They celebrated long into the night. That's when the World War what, II?
World War II.
Ended. Does that mean that the celebration was because it ended?
It ended, yeah,
And it was just nothing but happy and joy?
right.
Did we have a lot of military men that was in World War II, do you know? From town?
Yes. We used to have a big board that had all the names on it.
A big board. We'll have to see if we can get that big board put back up somewhere.
You know, you might ask the American Legion about that big board.
You probably got every name in there, don't they?
They should have.
I bet they do. That's probably a real good place to look.
I have pictures of the board. It was in 3 sections. It was big with many, many names.
Yeah, we don't, we need to get something for those, soldiers up in town somewhere because, that'd be a good tribute to them. And it's a shame that one ends up told me about the board that was taken down. I don't know why they ever got rid of it. We should have made a new one.
They should.
Let's see if I got these names right. You're Helen, right?
Right.
You got a good story?
Well, the one I like best, and it's really not a story, it's where I spent most of my childhood, was at the city park. That park on Sundays would have a baseball game. People like from Elwood City and Newcastle and Beaver Falls would come and place the team from town. And there's always about 5,000 people around the park at that time. All the pavilions would be filled. In fact, they would keep them from one year to the next. But the